If you want to be attractive to a man, you want to be in touch with your female side. The female side of you is emotions, positive emotions and negative emotions. And you have to be able to share that. But if you share negative emotions about a man, he'll just get defensive. But you can share negative emotions about other things and he'll connect to you more. So that's the thing women don't know is that men are connected by emergency. A fireman, he has testosterone goes up. There's an emergency. Somebody's in danger. Somebody's got a problem. Let me come to the rescue. So if you want a guy on a date, you want him to be more interested in you. You don't just try to be positive all the time, and you don't do any people pleasing. That's the worst thing you can do. You're giving to him as opposed to letting him give to you. And women go, but
This is so big. This is so big. So glad you're touching on this.
well, what was so big?
The give in allowing him to give to you instead of you trying to people please and give to him. Because I feel like, I mean, I know in my dating life, in my decades of dating, I know there were so many times that I did exactly what you said not to do. I tried to be totally positive all the time, go along to get along, not let him know any of my needs, try to impress him, try to please him, try to win him over instead of the opposite. I think this is huge.
It's so, so important for women to understand that men only bond with you when they provide something for you, as opposed to you providing anything for them. What you provide for a man is a positive response or an authentic response to him. And your authentic response is a loving person, but that loving person is vulnerable, which means during your day, you went to work today, you're on a date. What do you talk about? Okay, you don't have to be so positive. You can say, oh my gosh, today I had such a rough day. I was so frustrated because Sam, my boss or my employee, I asked him 3 times to do this thing. I ended up having to do it myself. It's such a disappointment when you put so much into somebody and they just fail you. And then pause for a moment and just say, sometimes I think I'm embarrassed. I hire the wrong people. But the truth is, he's not that bad. And the other day he did do this and it was really good. And the reality is I love my job and it's fantastic. And I'm so glad that I can do this and this and this. So what you did is a circle. The circle is you went from revealing some emotion, positive or negative, in that case, negative, but you came around to the other side with grateful to have my job, feeling good about it. Maybe he's the right guy, maybe he's not, but it's really not that big of a deal. Now, I want to emphasize that phrase. That's a magic $1,000,000 phrase. It's not that big of a deal. So what you did is you revealed emotion, which men, if you just reveal emotion, it will turn them off. Okay. Oh my God, another woman who just gets upset about stuff. I've been through that before. I don't want that. Because women don't have the discipline. They're not taught the discipline. If you're going to have a negative emotion, you need to also balance it with all these positive emotions. And also, if you're going to have a negative emotion, it shouldn't be about the man. It shouldn't be like, oh, he was late for dinner. You know, it hurts my feelings when you didn't call. Never say that. I'd take that word out of your vocabulary. It hurts. That will just turn a man off completely. You become super needy because actually the part of your brain that feels hurt, I'm not saying you shouldn't feel it when you feel it. Just don't tell him. This is something you talk to your girlfriend about, your therapist about, you journal to God about, but you let go of that hurt because whenever we're hurting, we're feeling we're not seen, we're not being heard, we're not being respected, whatever. And we think that if we share with someone that, you know, it hurts my feelings when you do that, you think that he's going to change. He's not. Okay. He's going to get defensive because you say you hurt me. Everything in my man's genes is to not hurt you, but to protect you. And so you give him the message, he hurt you. And I know this, how do you ask him not to do that again? You know, it hurts. What you do is you have an art of how to communicate what you want and what you wish, and don't use negative emotion to justify asking. You can just simply say, oh, you know, I would have loved it had you called earlier because it was kind of frustrating to me to have to wait and not know what was going on. It's not a big deal. Magic phrase. When you say to a man, it's the opposite of what you think. Women think I can amp up my emotions and then a man will remember. No, a man will just forget you and push you away. You're just knocking out all his power. But when you say to him, you just have to try this. It's magic. You say, oh, would you be sure next time? I appreciate it if you did this. And it's not a big deal. then he sticks in his brain and he remembers, and he's never heard a woman say that before. It's so powerful. Now, a woman would never think to do this. First of all, the whole tendency with emotions, if somebody steps on your foot once, you say, ow. If they step on your foot twice, you have to go, ow, ow. And then you get louder and louder, which is the worst communication skill, is to raise your voice to somebody. I mean, you don't want a guy raising his voice to you. You can't raise your voice to him. And there is a biological reality that when a woman experiences stress, there's levels of stress. There's high stress, women will detach, but at low stress, adrenaline levels, she'll have, as a biological reality for women, when adrenaline gets produced, they have 8 times more blood flow going to the emotional part of the brain. So the emotions are there. And so there's amplification naturally. But for men, the amplification is the opposite. Under adrenaline, we have no emotion. We detach automatically. You know, why men like to drive fast, for example. Not to some women, they like to drive fast too. They're on their male side. They like the feeling of testosterone. But for a man, when he drives fast, all of a little adrenaline, competition, playing tennis, any sport, whatever, when he's in that sport, it frees him from taking things personally. It frees him from having too much emotion, negative emotion. He can detach. And all it takes is a little stress, and he can do that. Big stress, he'll become emotional. Matter of fact, under big stress, men become more emotional than women. That's fight or flight. That's arguing and fighting, or that is shutting down. And that happens not because men have testosterone. It happens because men's testosterone goes down and their estrogen levels are going too high. So the secret is, as you move from the dating stage, that's first stage, now you move into the relationship. In this case, let's say you're starting to get your needs met. And you're thinking, wow, this feels pretty good. Where are we going with this? And then what a woman will do, and that's what I call the stage of uncertainty. Because
Right.
you go, okay, are we going further with this? This seems pretty good. What are we going to do? And as soon as you go into uncertainty, you as a woman, you want to talk about the relationship.
Because you
Let's
want to have it defined, right? You want to like know whether it's going to go somewhere or not.
Well, let's talk about a relationship, or am I the only one for you? Or are you seeing other people? Or do you care about me? Do you love me? Or it is sort of trying to sort of gauge what a woman is doing at that point of uncertainty, which anybody wants to do. I'm about to do a business venture. I want to look for reassurance that I'm doing the right thing, right? So she's in relationship is the most important wisdom for women that they bring to the world is the how good a relationship can be if there's commitment. So I want reassurance that, that you're still with me. We're moving ahead, whatever it might be. She starts asking questions about what is he feeling? Are you still attracted to me? What's going on? And you didn't call me last week. Are you still interested in me? Or why did you do that? It hurts when you don't do that, disastrous thing.
I know.
So this is the uncertainty stage. So what women will tend to do is they want to pursue him more, seeking reassurance. It can also be she just starts giving more, but generally she's going to start asking more questions and whatever at a time where he's also uncertain. And that's the worst thing, is to ask for reassurance at a time when a man is uncertain. I was just counseling a couple, and, they've been estranged for 6 months, and now she's wanting him to come back, and he's wanting to come back. And so it's all good. And as soon as they're starting to come back, she says, but he never said he really wants to make it work. And so I said, I need you to have you tell her you really want it to make. And I always see men and women separately, because he'll resist. I have to overcome men's resistance. And he said, well, I'm not sure if I want it to work. I said, well, that's one part of you. That's the part of you that doesn't know. But is there a part of you that wants it to work? Well, yeah. Okay, so she needs reassurance. You need to tell her, yes, I'm coming back to work with John. I want this to work. You don't have to say, and I don't know if it can work. We already know. We know it don't. That's why we're going getting help. But men, the last thing he wants is when he's pulling away, for a woman to say, are you attracted to me? Are you still interested in me? Do you love me? Do you like me? He's uncertain. And when he's uncertain, he can't give you that answer, which is, I'm just needing some time. Of course, I love you. I like you, but I need some time. He doesn't always know how to say that. Men don't understand so much what's going on inside. I'm telling you what men think inside. And if you said it like this, when I have more men buy my books, because it helps them understand what's going on inside. biologically, what happens when a man starts to feel closer to a woman, his estrogen levels start to come up. I was mentioning before some research showing this, that as men get older, their estrogen levels start, their testosterone starts dropping, and their estrogen levels start getting higher and higher. Now, all men in their 50s and 60s, their estrogen could be even higher than a woman's. And that puts a lot of belly fat on them. You can see who's got the estrogen levels off the chart and low testosterone by belly fat. And it inhibits testosterone production. But it's happening as his testosterone is going down. But let's take a case of a 45-year-old man.
Okay.
In that case of a 45-year-old man, already it's now 25% less on average. Okay, from the 20s to the 30s to 45s, that'd be like 25% lower. It's a drop. His momentum, his desire, which is reflected in statistics. Men over 40, half of the men over 40 have used Viagra. They needed a pill. You know,
Mm-hmm.
my wife always says to me, "Are you sure you're not taking medicine?" It's you, honey. It's you.
It's you, honey. Oh, you're saying the right words there.
Yeah, right. It's you. And, at 73 years old, my testosterone is 50% higher than when I was a young man. Okay. I'm the exception because I understand polarity. I understand how to make all this work. Most men just don't know. So anyway, and what a man at 40 will do when he's not getting erections with his partner, he'll go online and have an erection with porn, and that will lower his testosterone even more. But there's something else that lowers his testosterone. And that is in the category of a 45-year-old man. It could be the 35-year-old man, could be the 40. It's a consistent what I'm about to say. So a 45-year-old man, who has the highest testosterone in that group? The single man. Who has the next drop down highest? Is the man in a committed relationship. When does it drop again? The married man. So compared to a single man and a married man, on average, the single man will have much more testosterone for that age category than the married man. The married man, compare him to the next level, is the married man with children. He will have the next lowest testosterone, which is back when, it was back women were saying a man with a belly is attractive because he's the fathering type, because that's what happens as men start getting this belly. As their estrogen goes up, their testosterone goes down. But there's a lot of symptoms that happen when that happens. Men become more grumpy, they become more irritable, they procrastinate more, they become a little lazy or a lot lazy, or in order to feel alive, they have addictions. This is all the problem is a lifestyle in a man that doesn't promote testosterone, too much estrogen. But this, and then the next level, if he's still alive, is the man with grandchildren. And the truth is, here I'm with my high testosterone levels. When I'm with my granddaughter, I was actually with my granddaughter today for an hour going for a walk. But if I spend like 3 or 4 hours there with my granddaughter, just all I feel is they're so beautiful. There's so much love, all that love. My estrogen levels are going off the chart. It pushes a man's testosterone levels down. And I would usually, when I go over there for 4 hours, I'll come home and I need to take a nap. Okay, I need to recover to rebuild my testosterone. But today I didn't need much time to recover. It was just an hour, but also I went straight into my work. Work is what allows men to pump up testosterone. And it's not about my wife building. My wife just increases my testosterone by my already feeling good. And now I can help her feel even better. And the ideal relationship is a woman knows how to feel good, but still needs her husband to feel better, to feel higher, to feel more loved. And that's a special relationship. Commitment, you're number one. Every man needs to feel number one in his field, whatever he can do. Even if I'm the best plumber in West LA, it's just like, I'm number one. And a woman, I'm number one. That's commitment. And men have to see, I give examples for men to understand this. Just like you want to feel number one, that's when it comes to your confidence. Women need to feel number one in terms of, I am the one he loves the most. I'm special. I'm number one. And we have to demonstrate those things. Men don't know this. See, this is so back to the way men think and feel. What a man does in the beginning, I'll come back to our thinking. What we'll do in the dating stage up to the uncertainty stage is we'll be very motivated to do stuff. Okay, we're motivated to do stuff. And we're just doing little stuff. In our minds, we're not doing big stuff like sharing our whole income with you, giving up all other potential women, committing our life to you, signing the contract. That's the big stuff in a man's mind. This little stuff is I'm just testing to see, does it work? What men don't know is that little stuff is what it takes to continue her feeling like she's in love with you and wants to have sex with you. Okay, so you got to do all the little stuff to keep her estrogen up. But you also have to we marry her. That's like the doorway that says, now if you do little things, it will have a big effect. But in the dating, men are thinking, oh, I'm doing little stuff. She's happy about that. So, wow, she's a perfect person because I don't have to do much to make her happy. But then you get married, he stops that stuff because in his mind, he thinks I'm doing the big stuff now. And that's in the dating thing, but that's also some of these men who make a lot of money. They're just awful to women because they think because I make money and I can buy you fancy things that you're going to be happy. And I know some women would go, I would be happy. If you see what happens with men, they take testosterone, they get muscles and then they get man boobs. See, that's because when you get too much testosterone, your estrogen, it converts into estrogen. So it's never all the bad behavior of men doesn't come from testosterone. It comes from low testosterone and too much estrogen. So this gives us an indication, women, of to understand the way a man's thinking is whenever he thinks he's helping, when you need his help, his testosterone goes up. Then he gets closer to you. That stage, now stage 2 comes, he's thinking about making a commitment. When he's thinking about making a commitment, he will pull away. He's doubting now. So he's pulling away. Doesn't mean he doesn't love you. It's like, am I going to, invest in this relationship? Or where's this going to go? But it's not even just the logic of this. It's pure biology. If a man gets to in the first stage of attraction and you're spending time together, enjoying each other, there's a place where he thinks maybe you're the one. He wants to attach to you more. That's because his estrogen goes really, really high. He's feeling love. And when he feels love, that's estrogen. Well, that knocks his testosterone down, and men need to pull away in order to rebuild testosterone. Like the guy who needed to go fishing to find himself again, go hang out with the guys and go fishing and not having women around, his testosterone levels can restore. This is the whole theme of men are from Mars, women are from Venus, is men need cave time. They need time away from their partner. Time with your partner, with your family, raises estrogen. So already you need to have your high testosterone. So it's just balancing out. But when a man works, I work, but I also can become exhausted and tired. I use up my testosterone. It's sort of ironic. We make it at work, but we also use it up. And so we need to replenish. Like, for example, a guy who lifts weights, okay, he has to have muscles to make testosterone, but lifting the weights, he runs out of testosterone. He needs to now recover. And the recovery time is he can't over-exercise. If he over-exercises, he will have zero testosterone. And I've had men who, very commonly, men who have a lot of muscles don't get erections with their wives. It's because they just don't have enough testosterone left, because they used all their testosterone to make the muscles. So I have to tell them you have to train less and you have to make sure that you don't do porn, because a lot of times when you're not turned on to your wife, it's basically your testosterone is too low, but it's easy for men to get turned on to a stranger. Now that's, it's kind of paradoxical for a woman, because you're going to get turned on if you have healthy self-esteem. A man wins you over, you love him, now you open your heart to him. If your heart's closed, you don't want to have sex with him. But for a man, fantasy is a big testosterone booster, and it's unhealthy. It's an unhealthy thing. But the more you get turned on by fantasy, then reality doesn't turn you on. We just know digital stimulation is more addictive than reading a book, for example. It's the, this is on one level, this is not real. Okay, this is just a screen. I'm not really here. You're not really there. And so. And then add to it that the porn is, these people are faking it all the time as well. They're just doing it for the money. There's no love for you. They don't know you. They don't care about you. But ironically, that produces no estrogen in a man. Remember, estrogen can hold too much estrogen, pushes testosterone down. So if I'm with a new woman or a fake woman or a computer woman or a computer machine, or if I, heavens forbid, I'm doing it on Meta, this 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional experience, this produces so much dopamine that a real woman will never be able to turn him on again. That's what goes on. You have to go through. It's the same concept of going on cocaine. Now you go off of cocaine, you have to go through the withdrawal, a lot of suffering, a lot of boredom, nothing turns you on at all for life. But the receptor sites can come back. But if you have extra nutrition and support, it can come back faster, which is why I started getting into nutrition and biohacking and all these things. And kind of what I'm talking about now is biohacking love. Although you want me to talk about dating, so I have to squeeze a little biohacking in there, which is that if a man says to you, "I'm going to take you on a date. Hey, let's go out sometime," and you say, "Yeah, sure, that sounds good," and then he says, "Where would you like to go?" And you say, "Well, where would you like to go?" Boom, you're people pleasing. Never can be concerned about where he wants to go. Have a ready answer. Have a ready answer, which is, he said, "Well, what would you like to do? I mean, what do you like to do?" "Well, I like to play tennis or pickleball. I like walks. There's this favorite walk in Mill Valley Canyon, and I like Chinese restaurants." And you pick. That's the key to this. You give him 3 options and you say, "You pick." And now already he's invested in doing something for you that you would like, but you're not telling him what to do, because men don't want to be.
And he knows whichever one he picks you're going to like.
That's right. It's a win for me. I already assured that, there's big, how do I impress her? What do I have to do? You let him know. And you're not people pleasing him. You're creating an opportunity for him to please you. It's always about the opportunity to please you. So, and that's kind of instead of like being a wallflower and letting a man do everything, well, we want to be balanced, both masculine and feminine. The masculine side of you is using strategy to allow him to be the man, but you're actually being very masculine by having, all right, I got 3 things that will make me happy. Which do you pick? So that's a strategy which allows him to take the lead and you to just enjoy, and you will enjoy more because you also don't feel the pressure of him having a good time. You see, that's the other side. He's assured that he's going to be successful, and she doesn't have to worry, is he going to like what I picked? Because you gave him 3 things and he chose from them. And so that's the tendency of, don't be a people pleaser. Realize, and when he go to dinner, you might make more money than him. You say, "Well, let me pay for dinner." People pleasing again. You want to give him the opportunity to do something for you, which is he pays for the bill. And if he does, if he says, "Do you want to split?" You say, "Well, I'm kind of an old-fashioned girl and I like a man to pay." And he might be foolish enough to say, "Well, you make more money than me." I say, "No." But it feels really good. It feels really good when a man takes care of his woman. And you just have to set them straight. Some men are afraid to be chauvinistic and open your car door, as opposed to, if you're on a date, stand by the door and smile. See, you want that door open for you, as opposed to rushing to the door and opening it. Any opportunity you have to have a man do something for you, just allow him to do it. And so many times women are so eager to go, "Oh, I can do that," or "I'll do that," or "I'll help you this way," or "We'll do this." No, men will bond with you when they do things for you. So when you go through this uncertainty stage, it's really because the estrogen goes so high, he will naturally pull away. And if you pursue him when he's pulling away, he'll just keep pulling away further. And that's called the rubber band theory that, we've done lots of videos on that one. And so he's not going to have a chance to miss you and spring back. Biologically speaking, he's not going to have a chance for his estrogen levels to go back down because he's not connecting to a child or a woman. He's got his work, he's pulling back, or he has his hobbies, and he pulls away like a rubber band, and then he'll miss you, and then he'll have the experience of, "Oh, I wasn't really that excited about her, but now I am." See, this is a reality that people have, particularly men. Out of sight, out of mind, and then suddenly he gets horny, okay? And then he starts thinking about you. It's always going to be sex. Men will not always admit it because women will think that's a low-level thing. It's the biology of men, and you learn to be respectful and not be direct about it. But at the same time, you might find a man, he's a catch, and he's feeling the pressure. He should have sex on the first date or the second date, which I don't recommend. But he negotiates with you. He'll say, "Oh, well, don't you feel this?" "Oh, yeah, I feel really good with you." And, "Well, then let's do it. Why not? Why are you so old-fashioned?" You just say to him, it's a clear boundary that doesn't put him off. And the boundary is, "Oh, yes, every cell in my body feels it too. I just know what works for me is to go slow, and then it will be even better." "Oh, no, let's just do now." Really, it will be so much better Well, when do you think? I'm just taking the worst case scenario. Hey, what's a date? He says, I don't know, but what I do know, it's going to be great. I just need to take time and I'll let you know. That's another thing. You don't have to be in a mystery. I'll let you know. Ironically, his ego has been fulfilled. Okay. 90% of a man's feeling great about sex is that you want to have sex with him. That's the victory, is that she wants to have sex with me. And then you have sex. Okay, that's a good experience, whatever. But it's feeling that a woman is wanting me. And more so, her desire for me came from feeling she has what she needs with me. So this is, a whole women's physiology and so forth is when you're on your male side, you're going to be less attractive to a man. When you go to your female side and you're not needy, then you're going to be most attractive to a man. So now you've gotten to the uncertainty stage. He's pulled away, he comes back, and when he comes back, you don't slap his hand for not calling you or whatever. What can you do while he's pulled away? These are all inventions from my daughter Lauren in her class, since we're talking about men, calling Understanding Men, an amazing class at MarsVenus.com. But one of the things she has women do is, if he's not calling back, don't just do nothing. Instead, go about your life, be happy, don't be needy. So you're not coming from a needy place. You're a happy woman, but it'd be happier with the man. So you just imagine in your mind that he called you up and he said, hey, tell me about your day. And what would your answer be? And you send him a text with the answer to that question. Just simply, oh, you write a text, you say, today I had bagels at a new restaurant in my town, and they had a cappuccino that was out of this world. It was like the room was filled with rainbows. That's it. What you do is give a real life thing and embellish it with, and I'm a happy woman, I have a great life. And women wouldn't think to do this because let's say she wasn't talking to me, and then we'd had a conversation, and she says, well, how's your day? I had the best day of my week. I mean, it's amazing not being with you.
That's amazing not being with you.
I'm so happy when you're not around me. You wouldn't do that. So you're not thinking that your happiness is actually going to make him be more attracted to you. And you could do that a couple of times in a week, not more, just a couple of times in a week. Do that for a few weeks and then taper off. And then it means it'd be next, you put in the best effort. But a lot of men, the way they think is they're attracted, particularly if they have sex, then they're going to lose interest. And if they do a lot of sex with you, they really lose interest. And then they're going to feel guilty because women always say, you didn't call me. Where have you been? You disappeared. You ghosted me.
Do you really want to hurt me?
Yeah, do you really want to hurt me? So he's been through that one before, right? That's happened before. So now he's just going to go, oh, I can't call her. I feel too guilty. I don't want to hear any of that. I don't want to be told I was bad. And yet that same guy, if he got a few little friendly notes, will go, oh my gosh, first of all, she's not mad at me for not calling her. She's not needy. She's not demanding. She's a happy woman. And if I call her, I'm not in trouble. Well, then I can call her up again, because it takes time for men to bond with a woman. And if he has sex too soon, or they have too much emotional connection too soon, he's going to have to pull away. This is all the way through marriage as well. Men, when they get really close, if I go on a weekend with my partner, have sex 6 times or something, I'm done with sex for a good week. I'm busy working. I'm not thinking about her. I'm not thinking about anything. I'm satisfied man. It's like having a meal, very satisfying. You don't think about it afterwards. But when women bond that much, what happens is attachment happens, and then they want to feel more connection. And that would become overly needy. And so men have this nice fail-safe for women to keep you from being over needy, is we'll naturally just back off for a while, giving you space to find things that make you happy. And it took a while for my wife to figure that out. But there's this one time where, I've had so many rejections and my road to success. But, ironically, while I was #1 of all books for 5 years in America, every week, #1 biggest selling book, I never received a positive print interview. Never.
Really? Are you kidding?
Yeah, I'm not kidding at all. I've never received a positive print interview during that time. Now I get some occasionally. It's kind of like I'm a legend, I wrote, people have softened, but I don't get that many articles either. But during that time, uh, everything was pushing me down. He's a sexist. He's not an authority. His ideas are old traditional. Who is he to say these things? How can he talk about what women need? Just a bunch of negativity, kind of what you see now on the internet. How people can just spew negativity. But what
Mhm.
in people's alive is, I had my infomercial. People got to hear me talk, and TV shows loved me. I was on Oprah had me 18 times. Today Show maybe 20 times. CBS This Morning. Because I'm a friendly face, and it's a feel good conversation, and you're not dealing with writers who are jealous of me being the number one best-selling author in the world.
Mhm.
Jealousy that comes out along with this whole narrative of men and women are the same, which is nonsense. And if you are a woman who's seeking help, coaching, and so forth, you want to go to Michelle, because Michelle understands that men and women are different. If you go to a counselor who does not get it very clearly that men and women are different, you will always get the wrong advice. Just put it that way. If you're looking for advice to have a better relationship, it needs to be somebody who understands that women, you want to give them different advice. You want to give men different advice based upon their different needs and perspectives.